We now know the world in college football is doubting Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes. Let's talk about why.
You are Locked On Buffs, your daily podcast on the Colorado Buffaloes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Buffs. Today's episode is brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day for free and available wherever you get your podcasts. So do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, and make sure to stay logged in and tuned in along the way because we have a lot to talk about. Over the past couple of days, the inaugural of this season, the USLBM Coaches Poll, which is a fancy way of saying the Coaches Poll, was released. And so there's a bunch of voters. It's names like Dave Aranda, Tim Beck, David Braun, Jeff Braun, Fran Brown, Troy Calhoun, Jason Campbell, Ryan Day, Kalen DeBoer, Sonny Dykes, Jason Eck, so many guys. Ken Nilmoto, I believe I just butchered the hell out of his name, the San Jose State head coach, former Navy coach, Jay Norvell, Lance Taylor, so many guys, right? So many guys. They get called upon, they're volunteers, and they vote on who they think is the top teams in the country. And for Colorado, they did not make it. So I'm going to share my screen real quick, and we're going to run through the list. So that way, if you didn't see it, we can dissect it together because I think this was a travesty. So let's start from the bottom up. They have Boise State at 25. Teams receiving votes. This is where Colorado ended up. Oklahoma was basically the odd man out. They were at 221. Boise State was at 246. So a few more votes. Oklahoma gets in. Colorado, all the way over here at 12 votes. Georgia Tech, 27 votes. So it's going to be an unranked week one game between Colorado and the Yellow Jackets. That being said, let's run through this list. I'm going to walk through the list, and then I'm going to talk about who I felt Colorado could have replaced. Boise State, Texas Tech at 24, BYU at 23, Iowa State at 21, Texas A&M at 20, or excuse me, those two teams are tied. Of course they are. Kansas State at 20, Indiana 19, Tennessee 18, Florida 17, SMU 16, Ole Miss 15, 14 is Michigan, 13 South Carolina, Illinois 12, 11 Arizona State, 10 Miami, 9 LSU, 8 Bama, Oregon, Clemson, Notre Dame, and then the top four are Georgia, Penn State, Ohio State, and Texas. Now let's talk about teams that I think are overrated right now. Boise State. Sure, they returned their quarterback, Madsen. That being said, they lost Ashton Jeanty, and Ashton Jeanty was like quite literally their offense, right? I think losing him takes a lot away from this program, and I don't even think they're going to be the best G5 team this year. Also, Texas Tech. I have them. I think they should be higher. BYU is where I draw the line here, right? We don't want to hate on our fellow Big 12 brethren. BYU is a team that doesn't have a starting quarterback, right? Their options are McKay Hillstead, who, I mean, he's decent. He's played some. I think he was at Utah State. Nothing special. He's 5'10", 195. Last season, he threw for 1,062 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 8 picks. QBR of 33.9. He's probably going to be the starter. If it's not him, it's going to be Bear Bachmeier, or they have another quarterback in the mix. And I'm not really impressed with any of these quarterbacks. So I don't know why BYU is there. I think BYU should be out of the top 25 in general, to be quite frank. Texas A&M, I understand why they're there. They're a habitual 8-4 team, though. I don't really get the hype there. Michigan, I feel like they're way overrated, right? They end the season on a high note with a win over a bad, beaten down Alabama team, but is that really enough? Are we really putting that much buzz into Bryce Underwood this early? I don't think we should. Another team that I think was a little overhyped, you have to go Tennessee. They don't have Nico, right? A team without a playoff, their quarterback that led them to the playoff cannot be the same team, right? And I don't understand how Tennessee is going to be viewed as that good when they have Joey Aguilar or whoever else is back there throwing passes, right? We saw a great highlight of Colton Hood the other day, and guess what? Colton Hood plays DB. So I do not think that the coaches got this right. Now let's talk about – sorry, my throat was dry today. Let's talk about the Big 12 in general. The Big 12 has Texas Tech, BYU, Iowa State at the bottom. Kansas State's also there in the mix. Arizona State, 5 teams from the Big 12. I honestly feel like the Big 12 as a whole got shafted, got screwed, if you will. That being said, does that shock me or anybody else? No. I think the Big 12 is habitually going to be disrespected until they put college football on notice, right? That's just the way the cookie crumbles. That is why these early season non-con matchups are so critical. Colorado going up against Georgia Tech, ACC versus Big 12. That's a big deal, right? I don't love a week 1 matchup between Iowa State and Kansas State because it's like automatically you're probably going to lose a top 25 team. So really great scheduling there by the Big 12. Like, cool. They get to go to, Dublin? Cool. You're hurting the conference, right? Another matchup that I think is like Baylor-Auburn is crucial for the Big 12. Utah-UCLA, crucial for the Big 12, right? They need those wins. TCU-North Carolina, another big non-conference matchup. Baylor-SMU, week 2. SMU's a playoff team. You got to beat them, right? BYU's playing Stanford. Stanford's kind of a ghost of its former self, but still can't get upset there. Iowa State-Iowa, that's going to be a huge game, right? Kansas-Missouri, that's going to be a huge game. Oklahoma State-Oregon, right? There's so many crucial Big 12 non-conference games that the conference as a whole cannot afford to lose because you start dropping like flies. I mean, and I don't think anyone will say this, but they are going to look for a reason to drop the Big 12. The Big 12 is viewed, and the ACC are viewed as the weaker conferences. So they don't want those teams in there, right? Arizona State's going to go on the road to Starkville and play Mississippi State. Mississippi State was the worst team in the SEC last year, and Arizona State's was the best team in the Big 12 last year. Can you imagine the headlines? Could you imagine the storylines if Arizona State loses to the last place SEC team? Of course, it's going to be like the best Big 12 team isn't good enough to beat the worst SEC team. That's the storyline, right? You need to beat the stigma. You need to beat these non-conference opponents. And so I think, and I said I was going to talk about this, and I'll get to it in a quick second. I think the reason that they're doubting the Big 12 is because there hasn't been a ton of playoff success. The Big 12 as a conference has yet to win a playoff game, even dating back to the Oklahoma days. There's also a lot of doubt surrounding Colorado because they lost Travis, they lost Shedeur. I think Coach Prime's health hiatus, granted, he was battling cancer, so I mean, nothing you can really do about it. I think people are doubting him. I think there is like this underlying thought around college football that it's only a matter of time before he leaves or calls it quits, and I don't think that's the case, but I think that's what people are worried about, right? They're worried about, can he coach a team that doesn't have superstars? Is he going to stay invested? Is this Colorado team just going to faceplant right away? Or are they going to be like 2023 where they start decent and then faceplant? Or are they going to string together a strong season? So I think that's why people are doubting Colorado. I don't think they should doubt Colorado. I've said this, and then Deion Sanders affirmed it at Big 12 Media Days. Although this team doesn't have the star power, it's more complete. It's a more complete roster. They're going to be running the ball. They're going to be physical across the offensive line, the defensive line. I don't know if it'll be as good as last year in terms of getting to the quarterback because they were the best in the conference. That being said, I do think that they're going to be really good. So moving on, Shedeur Sanders, he's starting apparently. Let's talk about that because I'm getting mixed reviews and mixed vibes from the Cleveland Browns. This episode of Locked on Buffs is brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever wish managing your money felt easier with Monarch Money? It can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building your wealth. The most surprising aspect for me when I logged into Monarch Money, I just bought a house. I'm a first-time homeowner. I learned how much money I was spending on unnecessary subscriptions and food delivery, right? You get a little lazy and you're like, oh, maybe I'm spending maybe I need to hop in the kitchen a little more. I'm spending hundreds of dollars grocery shopping, but I'm spending a few more $100 delivering food throughout the month, right? So take control of your finances like I did with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. Welcome back to Locked on Buffs. Appreciate you guys for tuning in every single day, making me your first listen of the day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow so you don't miss out on a moment of the coverage. let's talk Shedeur Sanders. Now, I literally just did a segment on him yesterday with the Browns, and I hate how the Browns are treating him. I hate how the Browns talk about him. It is just a complete embarrassment, and I feel like they're well on their way to mismanaging another career of a young, promising quarterback. That's how it feels. They did it with Baker Mayfield, right? They've done it to tons of guys before him. Shedeur Sanders, I mean, just last week, the owner, Jimmy Haslam, comes forward and was like, you know what? Wasn't my pick. It was Andrew Berry. It was his call. If you would have told me that we were going to draft Shedeur, I would have said no. No, we're not. And it's like, okay, that's a cool thing to say. And then you see the stats from training camp, and it's like Shedeur's literally dicing up the defense. When he gets the opportunity, he's not getting first-team reps. Not getting a ton of run with the starters, which means he's kind of going up against the backups, but he's doing what he should. He's picking apart the backups, has 70% completion percentage, had the most touchdowns, no interceptions. And all of a sudden, he first of all, he's not getting the reps. And then the Browns go out and sign Tyler Snoop Huntley, a Pro Bowl quarterback. Pro Bowl. So now they have 5 quarterbacks. Dylan Gabriel's a little banged up. Kenny Pickett's banged up. Joe Flacco's old. And then Shedeur Sanders is a little bit banged up. He's gotten the fewest reps with the team's starters, but hamstring injuries to Pickett and Gabriel, and obviously Joe Flacco's old and experienced. I mean, no disrespect to Joe Flacco. He's an experienced quarterback, a Super Bowl champion, so they don't need to see him, right? So the Browns begin joint practices with the Panthers and Charlotte on Wednesday, and then they're going to play each other on Friday. Well, Shedeur Sanders is reportedly going to start that game. So if you're Shedeur Sanders, what are you hoping to do in this opportunity? I mean, it's quite simple. Shedeur Sanders needs this start, right? And he needs to take advantage. Even though one preseason start's not going to win him the job, it will and can help him work his way into the good graces of the coaches. It will and can help him work his way up the depth chart, right? I mean, you have to get more opportunities somehow. And worst case scenario, if he plays well, it can help increase his trade value. Because at the end of the day, the Cleveland Browns may or may not be his long-term team, right? I think everybody dreams of taking the Kobe Bryant route where it's like, I'm going to play for the same team my entire career for all sports. And it's like, that doesn't always happen. And sometimes a change of scenery is the best thing imaginable for certain players, right? I mean, Joe Flacco's had a really good career playing for multiple teams. Baker Mayfield, his career got better after he left the Browns. He is now a franchise quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You look at quarterbacks just around the league. Like, it's just one of those things where sometimes leaving. Aaron Rodgers, I mean, probably shouldn't have left the Green Bay Packers, but he left, right? Kirk Cousins, his career really took off. Probably a better example here. Kirk Cousins, his career takes off once he leaves for the Vikings. So it's just one of those things where you would like Shedeur Sanders to get the opportunity he deserves now, but if he doesn't, it's not the end-all be-all, right? He just needs to take advantage of the opportunity he's given in the preseason. He's got to protect the ball, make big plays, not take sacks, show he understands the offense, show he could compete at the NFL level. And guess what? He could really boost his stock. So really excited for Shedeur Sanders to get the starting nod. I hope that he gets to play with a few starters. I think the thing that's interesting if you look at the Browns depth chart, it is atrocious. Even the starters are probably it's probably one of the worst starting lineups I've seen in a hot minute. Running back RB1 is Jerome Ford. You have Jerry Jeudy, who's kind of, I don't want to say he's a bust, but he's not necessarily what we thought he'd be. We thought he'd probably be like a Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, like best in the NFL type guy, and that's just not his game. Cedric Tillman, Deontay Johnson, which I mean, it's like, cool. Deontay Johnson, you mean the guy that's he's quit on like 4 teams? He played on 3 teams last year, and every team was better off without him, right? This Browns lineup is atrocious. So Shedeur really just has to make plays and make the right reads when he can, make the right throws, because I just don't know if he has the people around him who are going to make the plays in general, because the Browns roster is atrocious and they're probably going to be picking near the top of the draft next year. So he's got to take advantage of the reps, make the right reads, protect the football, and I mean, make a play or two. And next thing you know, you could be sliding up the depth chart one spot, right? I do think the Browns are horribly run. I feel like Haslam has no idea what he's doing. Not that I have any idea how to run an NFL team, but I'm not getting paid millions of dollars, billions of dollars, whatever it is, to run an NFL team. So I feel like I could confidently say that the Browns have no idea, no direction. And I think their handling of Shedeur Sanders this entire training camp shows just that. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Colorado Buffaloes coming in hot after an SEC commit. But first, a quick break. This episode of Locked On Buffs is brought to you by our sponsors over at 5 Hour Energy Transfusion. Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5 Hour Energy Transfusion. It brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink, minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're sinking birdies or just making memories with friends, this one's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Let's be honest, some days on the course or off of it, you just need that extra boost to stay sharp, right? Sometimes you're just not feeling up to it. You've taken your 12th mulligan of the day and you're feeling down, and that's where 5 Hour Energy comes into play. So golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors, of course. The grape ginger lime flavor gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without chasing down the bev cart. If you go to 5hourenergy.com today, that is the number 5hourenergy.com. You could use my promo code LOCKEDONGolf to receive 20% off your order. The offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders. Whether you're meeting up with friends or trying to turn 18 holes into 36, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Only order transfusion flavored at 5 Hour Energy shots today. Welcome back to Locked On Buffs, y'all. Appreciate you guys for tuning in every single day, making me your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast. So do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Make sure to follow along so you don't miss out on any of the coverage. Colorado football is coming up soon, and you guys are going to want to be tuned in because I'm going to have you covered. The Buffs are going after a top 40 defense lineman in the 2026 class from Texas. Plays multiple sports at Lake Travis, which is one of the premier programs. I think that's the program that produced Drew Brees, if I'm not mistaken. Lake Travis football alum. I feel like I'm on there. Garrett Wilson, Brennan Jameis, Garrett Gilbert. Okay, I think I was thinking of Travis Westlake. Hudson Card, Caleb Burton. Some pretty big names, right? So pretty big names have come out of this program. And the Buffs are fully in the mix for a guy by the name of Ben Duncombe. So Ben is a 3-star recruit, 898th player in the country, 91st defensive lineman, 125th player in Texas. Committed to Kentucky, but has, just about every program imaginable coming after him. He's got pages of offers, really. SMU, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, Wisconsin, BYU, Cal, Maryland, Utah, USF, Oregon State, San Diego State, Fresno State, right? Being very heavily recruited, committed to Kentucky at this moment. But the Buffs are, according to On3, they're in the mix. Colorado and Baylor have come on the strongest with Duncombe as he readies for his senior season. Auburn is also looking to get him on the planes. When talking about Colorado, this 6'5", 250-pound defensive lineman said, after committing, the main school that was really tried has been Colorado. He said they really want me to come for an official visit during the season. I have been on multiple calls with the coaching staff during fall camp. Warren Sapp is leading the charge. And then he said, I have liked Coach Darius Darden-Box and then Coach Sapp. They have been consistent with staying in touch. Coach Sapp definitely is a great coach and one of the best to ever play. The coaching staff there definitely intrigues me. They have some really impressive players, and it's really nice in Colorado. When it comes down to this, and I say this about recruiting all the time for Coach Prime, some recruits are just going to want to go to SEC schools. Some recruits may be interested in Colorado, but may never pull the trigger. At the end of the day, Deion Sanders has to get them on campus for an official, right? If you're able to get a recruit in Boulder for an official, they're going to see the beautiful views. Every time I go to Boulder, I'm blown away by it's a college town. Everything centers around the university. I feel like, I don't know the geography of the university that well because I always stay by it when I go there, but it feels like it's all centered around the school. You go to every restaurant in that area, they got Colorado helmets. They have Deion Sanders merch. They got it all, right? They love them some Colorado Buffaloes, and someone just needs to experience that. And plus, you get there for a night game. Colorado's going to be in prime time, say against whatever team, right? It's great vibes. The crowd's loving it. The crowd's loud, rowdy, and it's just hard to sort of imagine not being impressed by visiting Boulder. So if Coach Prime and the Buffs really want to get this Kentucky commit, they have to make sure they get him on campus, because I think that's sort of the difference in landing a recruit and not landing a recruit for Colorado. Is most of the time they get guys to come to Colorado. It has worked out well for them, right? It has worked out very well for them. So I appreciate all of you guys for tuning in, making me your first listen of the day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. I will see you guys tomorrow. Joining me is a former Colorado player. We're going to be talking about the changes in the defense for Colorado, the importance of the run game, and who he thinks will win the quarterback battle. So this guy played for Deion Sanders. You're going to want to hear this. It's going to be a fun episode. Make sure to like, subscribe, and set those notifications on for tomorrow's episode. It's going to be dropping at 5 a.m. We're going to go back to our scheduled time. Buying a house took a lot out of me and threw me off. So appreciate you guys' patience, and I will see y'all tomorrow.